that everyone does know that we will be recording, as well as to share this for follow-on with you all as well. So welcome, and we're excited to have everyone joining us for Maximizing Your Workforce Through Apprenticeship. And I'm really excited of the agenda that we have today, and some fantastic folks that will be speaking not only to the value of apprenticeship, but the value add, the value it brings to companies and people alike in workforce, and how we can maximize the potential of our workforce through apprenticeship as well. So obviously, again, we would ask that you please stay on mute. There is a couple different functions that we'll be using as a team today. You have the Q&A section. So if you're in WebEx on a desktop or your phone, there's a couple different toggles to get it to question and answer is one of the panels that you may want to open, as well as the chat window. And so we will monitor these throughout the presentation today and have opportunities where we can interject that. We want this to be obviously a discussion. We will have a discussion part of our agenda a little later as well. So just know that that also is an option, but we will be monitoring those and an opportunity to kind of proctor questions in for you all and discuss them dynamically with our team as well. Obviously, following this presentation, we will be following with contact information with everyone to get engaged, as well as follow-on information of today's presentation. So look forward to that as well. And then obviously, as I mentioned, we will be recording this session so we can share that as well. So with that, I'd like to start by introducing kind of our team, and you'll get to hear from all of these folks today. As I already mentioned, my name is Josh Kramer. I'm the Director of Education and Workforce Development here at America Makes and the National Center of Defense Manufacturing and Machining. We will also have joining us today Ms. Lucinda Curry, and Ms. Lucinda is the Director of Workforce Development at the Robert C. Byrd Institute and heads up the Apprenticeship Work engagement. A fantastic program we're going to talk about here today. And then Mr. Lynn Yost, who is the owner of Micro Machine Works out there in Barlow, Ohio. He'll be speaking a little later about, obviously, his engagement with apprenticeship, the value that it brings not only to his company, but other companies within the region, and some success stories and those types of things as well. So I would like to start, and just a super quick overview for those who may not know America Makes. Many of you may know who we are and what we do and those kind of things, but certainly wanted to share just a little bit specific to our educational workforce development kind of mission and the work we do and the impact. And I think today represents an excellent example of how we work within these ecosystems and how we work within the greater impact for workforce and education. And so obviously you can see our educational workforce development mission here. What I'd like to call out specifically is looking at partnerships and collaboration. We are in our mission, a collaborative partner. Our goal is really to deploy scope as well as scale around some of these projects and programs and successful best practices. Obviously looking at identifying requirements and those types of things, and making sure that we're vetting these through the industry and defense sectors. So making sure that these are built with that voice as well. Since 2012, when America Makes was created, we are the flagship institute of all of the manufacturing innovation institutes out there, which there are 15 today, all focused around different technology. Obviously, America Makes is focused on additive. Today's conversation not only is additive with the formal adoption of the Additive Manufacturing Technician Apprenticeship Program, but much larger than that as well. And we'll talk through some of those points here. But you can look at our portfolio actually represents 121 active and executed projects since 2012 to today. We have an active portfolio of over 14 projects we're executing and onboarding about another probably 4 or 5 here in the next couple of months. So very engaged across the K through gray spectrum of workforce and education here as well, really defined into 4 main pillars. And I talked a little bit about defining, identifying, and executing requirements. These are all built into our roadmap that really kind of identifies not only who or the audience that we're looking at in that K through gray, all the way through defense training programs, as well as reskill and upskill opportunities for incumbent workers, but also looking at what those things are. So looking at resources and assets and those types of things, and making sure that we have a diverse representation, again, through this collaborative network. America Makes obviously is a membership organization, and we engage not only our memberships, but our greater partnerships across the ecosystem as well. The second kind of pillar of what we focus on is around industry recognized credentials. And this is kind of where some of this work around apprenticeship also follows into, around the formal education and validation of not only skill sets, but think of that knowledge, skills, and abilities as well, and validating not only in helping to assemble frameworks and build frameworks, again, with that industry and defense voice. We do offer tailored warfighter training for the DoD specifically. A lot of times that is in the creation of, to fill a gap in some of those trainings as well, specific to additive. And again, today's conversation will go a little bit beyond that as well. And then this last part is thought leadership, which is really around how do we build interest and awareness and educate folks about opportunities in advanced manufacturing and the manufacturing sector. And then how do we use our stance as a national institute to really leverage and shine a national spotlight on some of these fantastic programs, and really become an advocate to make sure that we're solving the skills gap, and we're kind of bringing all these tools in the toolbox as well to these programs. And so this community of collaboration is really the spirit that drives us at America Makes, specific to our educational workforce development. And you'll kind of see here, it's all encompassing as well. So with that super high level overview of America Makes, I would like to, and I will pass kind of the virtual mic as we're in this virtual environment today, to Mr. Lynn Yost, who is the owner of Micro Machine Works over there in Barlow, Ohio. Mr. Yost.
Welcome, and I'd like to thank you, Josh, for the introduction. As Josh said, my name is Lynn Yost, and I'm the owner of Micro Machine Works, and I'm also the president of the Appalachian Ohio Manufacturers Coalition. The AOMC is a sector partner of the Ohio Manufacturers Association. The AOMC is a group of manufacturers in southeastern Ohio that collaborates with education, government, and community leaders to strengthen manufacturing in our area. The strength of the AOMC is the fact that it is manufacturer-led. Education and manufacturing, as well as local government, needs to collaborate, but educators need to know the needs of the manufacturers. So that's one big difference, is we are manufacturer-led. We work closely with education to provide job shadowing opportunities, internships, plant tours, and career fairs for young people, so that they may know the opportunities that are available to them in our area. Next slide, please. There we go. Micro Machine Works was formed in 1993. We are a CNC, and that's computer numerically controlled machine shop. Initially, we made parts for local manufacturing businesses, both new and repair parts for those industries. Then we started making parts for the photo industry. We had a local photo finisher, and they were a national photo finisher that provided us with literally a truckload of parts and said, you make them and we will buy them. Well, we realized that these parts were used in photo finishers all around the world. Photo finishers like Kodak, Konica, Fuji, and several other small independent photo labs around the world. At one time, we maintained an inventory of over $2 million in repair parts for the photo industry. As y'all know, the photo industry went digital. The fall of film cameras and photo finishing was pretty scary for us, because we were extensively invested in the photo industry. The introduction of digital photography marked the end of that segment of business. We were accustomed to making high quality parts with tight tolerances and jewelry-like appearances. We learned that we had a need for diversity. As y'all know, it's not good to have all your eggs in one basket. With new diversification, we entered into the pharmaceutical, life sciences, earth sciences, geotechnical drilling, aerospace, and many other research projects. We have helped in making parts and support equipment for the research and development of a quick test for AIDS, the HIV virus, and also other diagnostic medical assays. We're currently helping a pharmaceutical company that makes test kits for the coronavirus. They were trying to scale up from 18,000 kits a week to almost 500,000 kits a week. And we've reached that goal, and they're going gung-ho. We make parts for the geotechnical drilling industry, for the exploration of minerals and metals, as well as civil engineering projects that evaluate the structural integrity of things like the Hoover Dam or other civil engineering projects. We make parts for aerospace that are used in fighter jet applications, parts that are orbiting the International Space Station and other planetary exploration projects. We also make parts that are used in the construction of environmental chambers for the growth of bed bugs, literally millions of bed bugs. And why would anybody want to make an environmental chamber to grow bed bugs? Well, our customer wants to learn how to exterminate them because they're getting to be quite the problem in America. As we diversified our business grew. We've been in business for almost 29 years, and we don't have a website, and we don't advertise. There's no need to advertise as we can't keep up with our existing customer demands now. Our business has grown through word of mouth. Our business could be much larger if we had a larger talent of skill to draw from. That's virtually non-existent. I had somebody today drive 3 hours, and we'll probably hire him because he's interested in doing this. So skilled machinists, they're in demand. Unfortunately, we turn work away and we send work out to other shops because we can't meet our customers' demand. No business likes to send work someplace else, but it's a fact of life. Our customers have grown, and we have had great difficulty in meeting their demands. We can purchase new machines, but we can't purchase skilled employees to run them. We also know if we can't keep up with our customers' needs, that they will take their work elsewhere to a company that can, whether that's in a neighboring state or offshore to Asia, other parts of the world. Consequently, we had been working 50 to 6 hour work weeks just to keep up with our current customer expectations. This lasted almost 2 years, and unfortunately, we're not able to charge our customers an overtime rate, as this was just regular work for our customers. Our employees loved the overtime for a while, but the bottom line for the business was getting a little bit dismal because we're paying out all this overtime that we can't charge for. And after a while, even that nice overtime check gets a little bit old. Our employees were getting a little tired. Our career and technical schools in our area had no training programs for machinists, let alone CNC machinists. This is a condition we've suffered with for the last 25 years, and there's still no immediate relief in sight. However, working with the RCBI and the Appalachian Ohio Manufacturers Coalition and America Works, it's all about collaboration. We are putting a light in the tunnel. Good things are happening. There's apprentice programs. I've heard it said that those who collaborate best win the most, and I think that's very true. We need to talk to each other. Our advertisement for skilled CNC machinists in newspapers and on internet job boards totally went unanswered. I mean, these days it's hard to even know where to advertise. But we've been on the job boards and on the internet and social media sites. We're not getting any response, and it's not about pay either. So, we're getting a little bit desperate here. We have to have additional employees if we're going to keep manufacturing in this country. Then we learned about the Apprentice Works program through RCBI, and I think we started that probably in 2017. Lucinda would know, but we have, I think we have 7 employees in that right now. But the RCBI was just a godsend for us. We have 1 employee in apprentice training, or we started out with 1 employee, and we recognized that, hey, this apprentice training has got real value for us. because before that we had nothing. Now we have 7 of our 16 employees in apprentice training through RCBI. We have 1 as a quality control technician and 6 in CNC machinist training programs. This is a 3-year apprentice training program registered through the Department of Labor. Now, for us, there's approximately 160 hours of related training that we get through Tooling U and also instructor-led training. And this is done concurrently with 6,000 hours of paid, and that's the key to this training, is it's paid, and the apprentice is under the mentorship of a skilled machinist. So the RCB offers a train-the-trainer program where they will assist us in our mentoring skills. So, you know, we may have somebody that's an awesome machinist, but how do you get that skill set across to a new apprentice? So they will help us train that mentor to be able to pass that skill on. There are several places to access programs like Tooling U. Some of them are 100% online. There's NIMS credentialing, there's Tooling U, and you can apply for it in a lot of different ways and places. You can actually do it through your own company without going through RCBI. But the real strength of RCBI is the actual depth of knowledge that they have in their instructors. These instructors actually run CNC machines. They know manufacturing. You won't find too many questions that are too deep for them to come up with an answer or a solution for. They have facilities around West Virginia. I think they have three facilities now and 2, I don't know what you call them, satellite facilities in West Virginia right now. But RCBI is a sponsor of this program. As such, they maintain all the record keeping for us. They do the administration for the employees. They provide a dashboard where an employer can look and check on the progress of their employees. You know, you can see, well, little Johnny needs a little bit of encouragement. Maybe I need to talk to them. Maybe there's something in the program they don't understand. So we can see how they're advancing. We know that, okay, they've achieved this level. Maybe they need a little bump in their pay. Keep them motivated, keep them moving on. And we work very closely with our employees, and we can do that because we're a small company. We're 18 people. So it's a family. We know all of our employees. For a small company like ours, we don't have an HR department. And this assistance from RCBI is huge to us because we're a small business. We don't have the time to do the paperwork, to track the employees' progress. So all that administration, the setup of the apprentice program, RCBI just makes that so easy to do. If it was more complicated, we probably couldn't facilitate it here. The apprenticeship programs are highly customizable to fit the skill needs. It's federally subsidized, so it's extremely affordable. And I heard Lucinda say that for the rest of this year and early into 2021, that this is free for the first year because of COVID. They haven't been traveling as much. They haven't been reaching out as much, and they have federal dollars left. So there's no better time than now to actually get into the apprentice training program. And I know Josh and RCBI has worked together to have a new apprenticeship training program in additive manufacturing. And we're pretty excited about that because we have added additive manufacturing to our toolbox. And for us, it's just another tool in the toolbox. You know, a customer comes to us and said, we need this. Can you make it? Well, it's just another tool that we can deliver whatever they need. So that's awesome. The apprentice program, it's a win-win for the employee as they get paid to learn, and their pay increases as their skills increase. They are learning a skill that prepares them not just for a job, but for a lifetime career. With some additional study on the employee's part, there's a direct pathway to an associate's degree. So if a skilled person wants to get into management or a supervisory position, that associate's degree is huge. And the pathway is pretty straightforward and pretty easy to go ahead and get that associate's degree. It's a win-win situation for the employer, as now they have a skilled employee where none existed before. It's a win for the community, as now the talent pool for skilled machinists is much larger. Usually, these employees have a better retention rate and a greater loyalty to the company because of increased job satisfaction. Next slide, please. As a result of our collaboration with RCBI and Apprenticeship Works, we are mostly back to a 40-hour work week. Well, it's getting a little bit crazy out there again. So yesterday, we just announced that we're going to be working quite a bit of overtime between now and February. So it's a crazy economy. You never know what tomorrow is going to bring. But I wish I had a few more machinists that could handle the workload. So yeah, the economy is pretty good. Our bottom line is much stronger because we've had these apprentices. They're picking up the pace. Their skill set is growing leaps and bounds. And we could have never accomplished what we've done without these apprentices. Being able to pick up part of the workload has really helped our bottom line. It's cut out a lot of the overtime. But like I say, we're getting back into the overtime again. I cannot emphasize enough the value RCBI has been in implementing our apprentice training program. I'd like to share with you a quote that I heard one time, and I'm not sure exactly where it originated. I think it was Henry Ford, but it states, "I would rather train an employee and have them leave to another employer than I would not to train them and have them stay." And with that, I'll turn it back to Josh.
Okay, great, Lynn. Thank you so much, and certainly appreciate your insight on this. And obviously, as a not only an owner, but someone who feels the pain, right, and sees the opportunity for these students. And I see students of any age, because we know this isn't just the students that come fresh out of high school or post-secondary, but it is folks that are reskilling and upskilling back into the industry as well. So certainly appreciate that and know that you're a shining example of how successful this can be and how successful it can be in a lot of different environments as well. So really looking forward to more work together, and certainly interested in helping you get some additive equipment down there and the additive apprenticeship started too. With that, it is with great pleasure and to introduce to you all Miss Lucinda Curry. Lucinda and I have a great history and a past, and worked together for a long time, and highly respect her as well. And we've had, the RCBI has been a part and was a founding partner of America Makes back in 2012, and has been with us, the whole time. And so this partnership and collaboration speaks volumes. We had meetings leading up to this webinar with you all today, and just the opportunity that still exists to bring more impact out to these students of any age, and also to prepare a workforce that we all need and build this talent pipeline. And so, obviously Lucinda's going to break in. She's going to talk about, how does this actually work? How do we, what's the steps? How do we get started? And that's really where we want to focus with you all, and obviously leave you knowing that you have great partners here that are willing to roll up their sleeves and be a part of the solution with you. So, Ms. Lucinda, I believe you are ready to roll.
Okay, thank you, Josh, and thank you, Lynn. We really appreciate the partnerships, and we couldn't do it without our partners, our industry partners. In particular, apprenticeships, you must have work, and must be employees, and with all of our national partners like America Makes. So be glad to give you, I'm going to give you a quick overview for some of you that might be on the webinar that have not heard about the program, but I know many of you have. So we are going to jump in very quickly to how to instead of why. But a program overview to update everyone. RCBI is part of Marshall University, located in West Virginia. However, we have a national footprint in many of our initiatives, including Apprenticeship Works. We were awarded a $4.9 million AAI American Apprenticeship Initiative grant back in 2015. And before that, we were already involved in apprenticeship, but since then, we've really been growing apprenticeships more and in more occupations with more companies. So currently, we have 20 different occupations that we are supporting in apprenticeship. We did also get our national standards approved this year, early this year. We had been going state to state and getting approvals, and can still do so if a company wants to get approval in their state. And we have currently 30 employers with 51 sites in 18 states. Some of our employers are major employers with 20 to 30 to even 40,000 employees, and they have multiple sites in multiple states. And then we also have medium-sized employers and small employers. So nice thing about apprenticeship is it can work for any size company anywhere in the United States, and you know, can be built for one employee as a pilot, like Lynn started out with one, and then you can grow that. Or it can start out with, you know, 100 if you're a big company in multiple locations. So it really is customizable. It is employer driven. And that's what's so nice about apprenticeship, and one of the reasons that it's so successful. So next slide. Okay. This is a list of our current employer partners, just to give you an idea of the depth and breadth of the program. We're supporting apprenticeships in a lot of different states and a lot of different industries within manufacturing. There's flooring companies, glass companies, stamping plants, machine shops, of course, just a wide variety of employers who make parts for all different industries, aerospace, mining, foundries even. So just, you know, you see a whole lot of different things there, medical. And so it's very interesting to work in an apprenticeship and to see the different occupations, to help build out these occupational outlines. And in some instances, like with the Additive, to build out a brand new occupational outline. We also work with the Composite Institute in Tennessee to build out the first composite technician apprenticeship program. And a couple of cool agency wins on here. The U.S. Navy out in California has the first additive manufacturing technician apprentices in our program. And up at the Gestamp, or at the Green Bank Observatory here in West Virginia, if you're not familiar with that, you need to Google it. It's one of the coolest places on Earth where they look out into outer space with huge satellites. And they have a machine shop there, and they have apprentices there that make parts to repair those huge satellites. So some just really cool companies and cool industries that we're always glad to talk about, and they're glad to talk about the program too. So if people have questions specifically for one of our employers, we can connect you so that you can talk to that employer about how the program's working for them. Okay, next. Some of the services that are provided under our grant, and also you know, just through our regular RCBI initiatives, are consulting services and program development for the different occupations within manufacturing. So we really work with the company one-on-one, and you know, there's always some overarching coursework and quality and blueprint reading, GD&T, math, you know, some basic things. But when it gets down to the actual OJT checkoffs and the related training, it can even be built around your particular type of machine. So in machining, it might be, you know, Kuma or Mazak or Fanuc controls. So it can be very detailed, and can be based on your processes, your products, and your equipment, which really helps the employer the most, so that you're getting the biggest bang for your program. There are online assessments that have been built out with Tooling U. They are one of our partners, and under our grant, we work with them to build additional assessments, so that in each of the 20 occupations, there's an assessment that can be given either to help select the apprentices or to give credit into the apprenticeship, or both. There is online related instruction through Tooling U for these same programs that have been built out and tailored to that occupation. And of course, with the coronavirus, having related instruction has been really key. But we started that prior to the coronavirus, and because of the different industries that we work with, many of them have multiple shifts and are in different states and different time zones. You know, they can't send people always to one of our sites, of course, and we can't always go to them and do on-site training, although we do some of that. So having online related instruction was just, you know, very, very helpful to our company so that they could structure their program around their schedules and their workload and be able to move forward. Also, under our grant, the Department of Labor did want us to build innovative ways of doing apprenticeship, you know, some new things. So many of the main occupations that were old time-based type programs, we have built into what we call hybrids and what they call hybrid. And what that does is it gives occupational competency checkoffs along with the related training and some time that's tracked so that people can move through the programs faster, makes it more innovative, it makes it more conducive in the workforce, that if you need to get these apprentices through in a faster manner, you can do so. So it makes it just much more flexible for everyone. The occupational outlines are very detailed. They were much more detailed than most were in the prior years. And there again, that can be customized to the company needs. The learning management system tracks it all. Like Lynn said, it really makes it easy to track both the online training modules and also their OJT checkoffs and hours. So it tracks it all for the company and for us as the sponsor. If we are the sponsor, we don't have to be. Some companies are their own sponsor that we work with, and some are under other sponsorship. Under a community college, it might be a sponsor or an agency or association. So we can work with all different types of sponsorship, but that tracking mechanism works for everybody. And our work with the DOL has proven that out, that they like to be able to see those reports and it's all spelled out and there's no guesswork in what's happening in the apprenticeship program. So it helps to keep a quality apprenticeship program. Next. This is a list of the occupations that we're working to support around the country. And the top occupations that have the most interest in the most apprentices are tool and die, the CNC, and the maintenance technician program. Those are the three most popular. However, there are other programs and companies using those programs. So it's a lot to choose from within manufacturing. And if it's not on the list and it's something that a company needs, then we can, you know, also work with them to build out that occupation or to work with them and with the Office of Apprenticeship to see if there's something similar that we can build upon. Okay, next. So how do you get started with an apprenticeship program? We all know that apprenticeships are good. They're great for ROI. They're great for recruiting and retention. But then what do? You know, you have all this information. And it's like, well, how do we get started? So this is what we really wanted to hit home on with this webinar. First thing is to set up a meeting and meet with us. We do that by webinars, by Zoom, you know, Teams meeting, however it's best for the company, that we can meet online and work with your HR department, your owners, your subject matter experts, supervisors, to talk about the program and answer the questions. And sometimes it takes multiple meetings, so that's fine. But that's really the first step, is just to meet and discuss the program and the company needs to see how it would best interact and meet your needs. We do have a proposal that we send that outlines all of the deliverables that we would have for a company, and talk to you about determining your occupational area. Where's your hot point? What is it that you need? In Lynn's case, is more CNC machinists. So that's usually the starting point. And then determine the number of apprentices. You know, how many would it help you to bring on? How many do you need? How many high-level workers do you need 2 to 3 years from now? You know, when you're doing your projections, so that you can bring on the number of apprentices to start training now to meet those projections. And then, of course, if things change, the economy and everything changes, you're not locked into apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is something that you can start, you can pause, you can start again, you can cancel the program if it's just not working out for you. It is employer driven. So just because you start an apprenticeship program doesn't mean that, you know, you are tied to it. But it's something that you can start and try and pilot and then build on if you so desire, which is what most companies do. You'd review the outlines of the related training and the on-the-job training, and we would work with you and your subject matter experts on the floor to customize those outlines and those checkoffs. Okay, next. Okay, then you're ready to go on to phase 2. Phase 2 is where you approve and sign the registered apprenticeship standards, and we work with you to either write your own standards if you want to be the owner of the standards, or to join our group standards. And so a lot of different ways there, again, you can do that. We also help you to develop a wage scale that is employer driven. You pick your wage scale for that occupation, and most of you already have that. You have a wage scale in place usually for most occupations, but you'd look at it from a different way, from an apprenticeship, of maybe bringing someone on who knows nothing instead of what you're bringing on somebody maybe with 3 to 5 years experience, like most job ads that are out there. So we work with you on that, because there does have to be a progressive wage scale detailed in Appendix A of the standards for your particular company and your occupation. And then, of course, you sign and return our RCBI service contract, which we provide, that is a copy of the proposal, just detailing all the deliverables, what our responsibilities are, and what the company's responsibilities are in the apprenticeship program. Okay, phase 3. Next. Okay. Phase 3 is where you're really getting ready to start your apprenticeship. You're past the paperwork phase, and we've sifted through customizing everything. And then you're ready to identify your mentors and supervisors. And you may have already done this concurrently, but at this point, you'd really want to do that. And a mentor or supervisor, you know, that would be over the apprentices is a key part of making sure that their on-the-job training is taking place, that they are meeting the different competencies, that they're not just putting in time at work, but that their time at work, and it can be spent on production. It doesn't have to be all in training. So keep that in mind. You're not slowing down your production. In fact, oftentimes it's speeding up your production to have these apprentices working on, you know, production parts as part of their apprenticeship program, but that also they're learning and being supervised. And that doesn't have to be shoulder to shoulder supervision, but you know that they are being supervised and that they are working in a safe environment are the main points there. You also select your apprentices, and we have some different things to help you in that selection process. Some companies are selecting apprentices as new hires. Some are only using incumbent workers and allowing them to move up, maybe from one area to another area. Some are doing a little bit of both. So it really depends on the occupation and your current workforce, and you know how you want to select those apprentices. But we have some different models that we can discuss with you and to help you meet that need. And then we always encourage hosting an official signing ceremony. Of course, in today's COVID world, a lot of those are being virtual, but certainly in the plants, you're still getting together, and it might not be able to be close-knit group, but to have a signing ceremony and make it something that could be a kickoff that you can put out in your company newsletter, that you can talk about in the community, and like Lynn has done with the Manufacturing Association. so that they help each other to recruit and to train people. And then you launch your apprenticeship program. So it's really can be fast. We have launched apprenticeship programs with companies within a couple of weeks. If a company's really ready to move forward and has the buy-in at the up the hierarchy, up the chain, it can be done very fast with everything that's prepackaged and a little bit of customization. And then also we've had some that have taken a long time to get started. If they had a lot of customization or had a lot of different steps to go through at their company site to get the approval. So it really is, there again, company driven. We don't tell you you have to do anything in a certain period of time. We just give you the steps and help you every step of the way through the process. Okay, next. So as Lynn alluded to, we do have a grant, and our grant has gotten a 1-year extension, and due to COVID, we do have an overage of funds, and we want to use these funds to help companies start apprenticeships and bring on new apprentices. Even if they have apprenticeship programs, you can bring on new ones in new occupations or new ones in the same occupations. But the first year of what our normal charge would be of $13.30 per apprentice per year is covered. So our consulting and development, the outlines, the sponsorship, if we sponsor you, and the online learning curriculum and platform is all included for free this first year. And then some occupations are just 1 year. We have some like production tech, and the additive manufacturing is a hybrid of 1 to 2 years. Some of those could be completed in a year. Others that are like tool and die, it's a 4-year program, or CNC, a 3-year program. So if people don't test out of that or have OJT credit, then it would be a 2nd or 3rd tier that then the company at that point would pay for. There are some different other funding streams around the country that we work with. Different workforce investment boards have covered that cost or part of that cost, as well as state expansion grants for apprenticeship, and many other grants that are coming out from the federal government to support apprenticeship. So there may even be support for that cost. But I want to let people know that it's very reduced cost as it is, because we are a 501c3 under Marshall University, and we do have our grant. So at this point in time, like Lynn said, there's no better time to start an apprenticeship and to try it out and to get your apprentices started than when you have this funding available. We also are covering some customized training. That does have to be completed a little bit earlier, and it has to be completed by June 30th, whereas the new apprentices can start up through 9/30 of next year. Customized training is part of related training. If you have a need that's something that you need one of our RCBI instructors to come and teach on site, or that we do online, like our Train the Trainer. We also have some new classes that we're going to be putting together over the web for sexual harassment and diversity training as part of our apprenticeship training for mentors. So customized training can be something that you identify, and if it is something that we can provide either on site or through virtual training, then we'll work with you to do that and provide that also free of charge. But it does have to count towards the registered apprentices' hours. Other people could attend it if it's on site. Say we come to your site and do a Mastercam 5-axis training. If the apprentices are in there learning it, then you could also have some other people in there as well, and our instructor teaching it. But the apprentices must be involved for us to be able to provide that under the grant. Okay, so I think that explains the cost piece. May have some questions on that and be glad to take those later. Okay, next. Okay. Some of the best practices that we have found over our many years of doing apprenticeship, we have found that companies who take the apprenticeship program seriously and choose mentors who they feel are not just good at their job, but don't mind sharing what they know. with apprentices is just really, really helpful because they form relationships, they form bonds with their mentors, they become more loyal to the company. And, you know, just the whole culture is better for everyone in that type of a learning environment. As Lynn said, we do have Train the Trainer. We help mentors to become better mentors. But you choose who the mentors are and initially. And that's just a real key part, is to give that some thought as you're setting up your apprenticeship program. Also, choosing the apprentices. Some companies that we work with, they make it mandatory that the person has to have worked there at least a year, have good attendance, have good work ethic and good attitude before they can even apply to become an apprentice. And because they are making an investment in these people, and they, you know, want it to be a very select group of people who become apprentices, and that's okay. You can do that. Then we have other companies that are in a hiring mode, and they're bringing on apprentices, you know, right off the street, and then they maybe have some other groups that help them to vet those apprentices, like their workforce agencies in their state, to go through a selection process. So choosing apprentices is important. It is a step that's best to take a little bit of time, and you can utilize the assessments that we've developed, the online 20U assessments for each of these occupations, especially if you're using incumbent workers and you want to get a baseline of what they already know to give them credit in the apprenticeship program, so that then they just take what's left over. But you can also use the assessments as a tool to select apprentices. Customizing the occupational outlines is also a very key to a successful program. It's great that we have good outlines to start off with, but it is good for the company to take the time to go through those outlines, go through the competencies, and help to tailor those to the actual company. The upfront heavy lifting of an apprenticeship are these details, but it makes your program much more viable for your company, and it'll be worth it in the long run. And then taking into consideration, you know, the COVID-19 and what we're experiencing in our country and around the world right now, we've tried to make it as painless as possible and to be able to do as much online as possible. We did love to come out and travel and meet with companies and, you know, have team meetings all together around a conference table, pass out outlines and mark them up and do those types of things. But we've learned that we can do that from a distance, and because we don't want to expose anyone, and most companies are not allowing us to come in right now for company visits. So although we are allowed to travel at this point, we have to always get approval on where and when and what it looks like in the area for COVID at that point in time. So so we're doing it still virtually, and but we've really worked on, you know, how to make it better, to roll it out faster for companies and not hold you all up due to the virus restrictions. Okay, and next, Josh. So we're going to open it up for questions, and we want to ask you all a few questions too. So to be thinking about this as you're sending us some questions. But what would make you interested in pursuing a program? What are your, you know, your hot buttons at work that are causing you pain? Like Lynn was talking about, are you having trouble hiring people, keeping people, having the skilled labor force you need? You know, what would really help your ROI, and how can apprenticeship maybe do that for you? What's preventing you from getting started? Have you, maybe you just need someone to help with those steps? Do you have questions that we can help answer? But, you know, what can we do there to help you, and that might be holding you back from starting a program? And then also, what resources do you need in order to feel confident about getting started? What else can we provide, as well as some of our partners that can provide information, and our national partners, and also the Office of Apprenticeship is great technical resources that can provide answers to many of the questions. So those are our questions to the group that's attending, and feel free to answer some of those and also send us some questions. I'll turn it over to you, back to you, Josh.
No, fantastic. And thank you, Lucinda. I think that's a fantastic 1, 2, and 3. How do we really get this started? And I think some important things there is really highlighting the fact that, you know, this is not as daunting as it may sound or you've heard. So it's definitely one of those things where hear from someone who's done it kind of thing. There are some questions in the chat. There are also a couple questions in the Q&A as well. So I'll throw a couple of these out. I think they're pretty quick ones. And the first one, Lucinda, someone was asking, and Tim was asking about, what's the name of the additive apprenticeship with the U.S. Navy participants? Obviously, I can answer that, but I'll send that your way.
The name of it is Additive Manufacturing Technician.
Great. And I know we have Gug on as well, Gug Zestri, and Gug with AST2 has been leading some of that out with the team as well. And then also, you know, we have an upcoming project with the U.S. Navy, an artisan workforce, and we're looking to embed this in a program there as well. So super excited about that. With that, Tim also asked a question about the LMS that's using to track class, job training, those kind of things. Again, I can answer, but go ahead, Lucinda, on that one as well.
We are partnered and using Tooling U, which is owned by the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. And they have been one of our partners throughout the grant, even before the grant, on our public program. So we use that platform. It's a great platform for manufacturers, and under our grant, they had built out the OJT tracking piece of it. Before, they always did have the courses already, and built new courses, but that OJT tracking piece has been new and has been a part of our initiative.
Okay, great. We have Alice as well. Alice is on via phone. Alice, I've unmuted you, so you should be able to share your audio at the moment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
I'm on computer for video audio. Anyway, I'm representing Navajo Technical University. We're the only national TCU with a metal AM and polymer AM pre-processing and processing, as well as a full material science metrology post-processing laboratories. We're working with NASA, Boeing, Sandia, Los Alamos, and we are running an NNSA online additive manufacturing program for all the TCUs. We use Tooling U for our program. It's been geared as a university towards the AA degree, but now we are mandated to start developing apprenticeship programs. So we have the middle, we have all the labs and the equipment, we have trained TCU personnel, but we're just stepping into the apprenticeship model. We have been using Tooling U, that's what we use. Is there a place for us to connect with you? Being that we're an education institution, but that we do the 2-year and 4-year degree in AM. We have the equipment, we have the people trained, but we have no experience running an apprenticeship program.
Yes, certainly, Alice. In fact, we just did last week a webinar for the National Coalition of Advanced Technology Centers, which is a group of like 170 community colleges. And we had a lot of community colleges on the line. We are working with community colleges in Tennessee, in Kentucky. We just signed an MOA with the community college system there to work with them, because they are, each college is becoming sponsors and hiring apprenticeship coordinators, but need some more things in their toolbox to offer companies. So yes, we can work with education entities. We love to do that, and are glad to do so, and would could have a conversation offline to discuss how we might help fill gaps and help your program.
That would be great. We're pretty far along the line. We have all our ODET codes. We have literally everything in place.
Right.
We just have now to start an actual apprenticeship program. We're really looking at the new 3D printing and manufacturing. I'm not looking at the code right now, but I'm sure you know them, and a few of the machinist codes as well. We do CNC as well, obviously. So is it possible to, I mean, for a next step, since we're anxious, how do we set up a meeting with whoever it's appropriate to figure out how to get all the paperwork started, to work with you to get it into what we do into a
Yes.
qualified apprenticeship program?
Yes, Josh just put up there on the screen our contact information.
Okay, great.
So if you just email me, or Josh directly, we will, get right back to you and help in every way that we
Okay.
can.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry for being so aggressive there in the chat line. I
No,
couldn't
that's-
Yeah,
type it up.
nowhere near it. Feel free, like I said, feel free to drop us an email. We certainly can pull the team. Either one of us can certainly get the
Great.
group together and more. I know there's a couple other folks as well asking similar questions about, hey, for educators in the K through 14 pipeline, what can we as educators do, and what's the first step in identifying partners and those kind of things as well. Lucinda or even Lynn, for that matter, do you want to jump in and kind of, approach that from the, what can educators do? Obviously, I would say reach out to America Makes. Maybe we have a member that's in your community or in your ecosystem that could be a sponsor, or we can connect with RCBI and kind of ramp up that way as well. But certainly wanted to throw that over to maybe Lynn. Maybe you can answer that question. I know you've had some experience there.
I know in some areas it's a tough road to hoe, but don't give up. We're fortunate to have RCBI right here in our backyard. I mean, they're an hour away from us, but the RCBI, they will make it work. And it's one of the few organizations I have seen that's a 501c3 or a government agency that really don't mind getting their hands dirty. They'll make it work for you. If you were in Ohio, I would say reach out to the Appalachian Ohio Manufacturers Coalition or the Ohio Manufacturers Association. And I don't know what community you're coming from exactly, but don't be silent. Reach out. And RCBI, it's been my experience over the last 3 or 4 years working with them. They can make it happen. So that's my recommendation.
Thanks.
Great.
Yeah, we try to find partners wherever we go, wherever the companies are located. We pull in local WIBs, local schools, other training providers, whoever we need to work with to, as Lynn said, make it happen and put together a program that is successful for the employer. But also doing that, a lot of times we're working with career and tech education, with K through 12 entities as well as colleges. And, it really works together if we all just talk and collaborate and figure out who can bring what to the table, for that employer. So glad to do that. Glad to be a point person on any collaborative efforts that the group of attendees, wants to try to work with.
Yeah, and I echo that sentiment. Obviously, as America Makes, we're here today. One of the things that we kind of pride ourselves in doing is connecting the dots. And if there's anything we can leverage in our toolbox as well, I know that's a, quote unquote pre-apprenticeship program question that's out there too. And Gug, I unmuted you as well, who's leading some of that work out there in Southern California and even with some pre-apprenticeship work. Gug, did you want to say a couple of things?
No, actually, it was a wonderful presentation. I really want to thank Lynn to share his success story. That makes it so well for everyone else. And I think it was, Allison, you're probably in New Mexico somewhere, right?
What was that, Gug?
I think the young lady that was speaking, she was from New Mexico, I believe. It really doesn't matter where you are. With so much stuff available, I know you're already using tooling. with the virtual one, RCBI, and we'll be happy to help you set up an apprenticeship program the way we can.
Right, and they can continue to use their tooling you contracts. They don't have to use the under us. So I'm glad you brought that point up. Tooling you works with all different types of educators and companies, and we are a partner with them. So we collaborate and bring customers to them, and they bring customers to us. So it all works together.
That sounds great. And so I literally am hitting the 1 hour mark in 13 seconds. So we have used our 1 hour with everyone today. I certainly appreciate everyone that's joined us. We will be sending follow-up information to everyone that's joined today, in the form of this presentation, the contact information, some follow-up on how to get started and folks to contact as well. So please look for that in your inbox. Certainly enjoyed having everyone, Lucinda and Lynn. Always an absolute pleasure to have you on with us as well.
Thank you for hosting so much, John.
Josh, will you be sending out a link to the recording?
I will, yeah. I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll probably put it up on like a YouTube setting as well. So we'll get it out there in the mainstream, share that with the group, and certainly share the presentation as well in PDF form.
Wonderful.
So thank you all. Have a great Thanksgiving for those that are able to gather and join and celebrate.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.